a great degree of satisfaction. This is my 9th year as a minister in the Honorable Prime Minister's team. But we have gone in those 11 years that he has been the Prime Minister from women-centered development to women-led development. Let me explain why I say this. The Prime Minister took office in May 2014. The central government schemes, they took some time for discussion. Most of these schemes were rolled out in June 2015. And I'll just give you a few schemes in which I have been associated. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, out of which 4 crore homes have been built for those who are less privileged, those who are members of the economically weaker section, if we may call it that, and another 3 crores more promise was made when the Honorable Prime Minister came back to office for the 3rd term. Now, whom is the title of the house in the name of? It is in the name of the lady of the house. When you build toilets, and I was a Housing and Urban Affairs Minister for 7 years, I can tell you the very fact that you build individual household toilets or you build community and public toilets, but I'm talking about individual household toilets, it is a very strong boost for the dignity of the girl child. When you talk about cooking medium, I was just telling Madam, the President of the Mahila Morcha, that in 2014, when the Prime Minister assumed office, we had 14 crore gas cylinders in the country. 14 crore, not cylinders, 14 crore connections. From 2014 to January of 2026, the number has gone up from 14 crores to 33 crores, 33 lakhs. Now, if you do a simple calculation that one connection is for one household, and each household has 4 members, then you multiply 33.33 crores with 4 and you come to the entire population. And I can say with reasonable certainty that we have done saturation on gas cylinders. Today, everybody in the country, I am now working on a plan so that anybody can get a gas cylinder within 24 hours. Already 75% of our homes are getting it. Why is the gas cylinder important? Because again, the lady of the house. I don't know, many of you may be feminists sitting here. I'm a feminist, my wife is a feminist, my daughters are feminists, but I don't go to the kitchen. I make an honest comment. So most of the cooking has to be done by our sisters, daughters, and our mothers. So providing clean, affordable cooking medium is a very important part in this overall program. And I can tell you another thing. When the Prime Minister saw the landscape, in 2016, he introduced the Ujjwala Yojana. The Ujjwala Yojana provides to the beneficiaries, or in Hindi, Labharti, a cylinder at a subsidized price. And today, madam, we are able to supply a household which is a beneficiary of Ujjwala a cylinder for as little as 550 rupees per cylinder, which is, if you calculate per day, the cooking expenditure is only 7 rupees or so. Now, since the outlining of the scheme, its initiation in 2016, today there are over 10 crore beneficiaries of the Ujjwala scheme. And earlier the gas cylinder, LPG, which is the product of a refinery, that was available only in urban areas. Today I'm very happy to inform you that 80% of the beneficiaries of the Ujjwala scheme are in rural areas. Madam was asking me about the penetration of Ujjwala in Tamil Nadu. I have some statistics. If you permit, I will share those with you. I'm going to digress a bit. I'm going to give you some additional statistics. And my figures are for 2014 as a starting point, because that is when Modi ji became Prime Minister. And I go to 1st December 2025. The LPG connection in the state of Tamil Nadu in 2014 was 163.63. This has to be lakhs. And today, the figure has gone up from 163.63 lakhs to 269.75 lakhs. It's almost double. The Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana LPG connection, which in 2014 was zero, because the scheme only came in 2016. Today, it has 41 lakh plus Ujjwala connections in Tamil Nadu. The LPG, that is the cylinder distributors numbers, in 2014 was 1,083. Today it is 2,048, doubled. Petrol pumps in 2014 were 443. Today it is 7,980, more than doubled. The PNG connections, this is the natural gas, petroleum natural gas. You see, LPG, which comes in a cylinder, is the product of a refinery. Natural gas is there it was zero, today it is 60,943. LPG bottling plants, it was 19 in 2014, it is 30 now. Today, in addition to that, there are 16 compressed biogas plants set up in Tamil Nadu, and 55 more are under construction. And 11 ethanol plants are operating in Tamil Nadu. I'm sharing these statistics to you just to provide you a sense of direction on the progress that we have made since 2014. But if I share with you the overall global context, I think the figures are even more impressive.
Here's a question from a gentleman named Praveen Sarathi from Virudunagar, who asks, can we expect a GST in petrol and petrol-related products in the near future?
Well, I think the emphasis has been on getting gas into GST. And, well, I have a simple answer. GST Council takes decisions on consensus. Everybody has to agree. Many of our states, I'm not taking the name of any state, they derive their revenue primarily from alcohol and petrol and diesel. They don't want to give up the revenue. So I think on gas we will be able to get it. I have had discussion, one or two states were still showing some reluctance, but I'm seeing that we may be able to get it done. Overall, all energy in GST, well, I'm on the positive side, but you know, we have to do a calculation. The states have to come on board.
A very good afternoon, sir. This is Sarvajit Krishnan, Chartered Accountant. With the US tariff of 50% already having an impact on our exporters in this region with respect to textiles, and with Trump uncle proposing this 500% on the Russian oil imports day before yesterday, what is your message for the exporters here in this region for the textile sectors? And what is the short-term plan for the government to overcome this and the long-term to strengthen our Atmanirbhar Bharat?
No, thank you very much. You know, the question, if I were to answer the question in the manner I want to answer it, you will have a lot of interesting headlines. So I am going to avoid the politics of it. And I'll just give you one example. I've been a trade negotiator for many years in my life. I think it's something that trade negotiations are going on with us and other countries. We've been able to sign some comprehensive economic agreements like with UAE, with Australia, with the EU, discussions are on. I think discussions are on with the Americans. So I won't go into, because this is ongoing work. But I can tell you something. When one window closes, I'm making a general statement, many doors open. I'll give you the example of our seafood exports. Our exports to a particular country were X, okay? And our exports were, let's say, the number is known. After some of these tariffs came up, our overall exports actually went up by 6% because new destinations were opened. Now, I know it may not be possible everywhere, but traders, markets, 50% of our GDP is in the external sector, which is the value of goods and services exported, imported, the value of remittances. So external sector is there, but I think we should acknowledge we have a very mature government, a government which is acutely conscious of that. And even as there is global turbulence, when, Russia, Ukraine took place, we never bought any crude from Russia. We never bought any crude from them. Today, it's a very major supplier. When I was Joint Secretary on the Americas desk in the Ministry of External Affairs, and if somebody had told me that we would be buying $1 billion of energy from there, I would not have believed him. Today, we are buying $15 billion of energy from the United States. Just now, we were buying, what is it called? This LPG from Saudi Arabia only. Then we started buying it from UAE, from Qatar. Then I opened up discussions with the Norwegians. We are buying from them. And now we are buying 10% of our LPG from the United States. So, a mature government and a healthy private sector, I'm sure as we speak, people are looking at ways of how to solve it. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, energy is important because 29% of the seaborne trade is on energy. So we need big ships. So I was in Japan and Korea recently. We are talking about expanding our shipyards, and those large ships will not only carry crude but also other commodities. So I think picture is overall very positive. Don't go by the odd headline here or there. I know some sector, but the government is looking at how to mitigate and how to rectify the situation there.